the mighty and resilient Merrimack River, carving through the communities of our great region. My name is Linda Lorden, proud president of Merrimack County Savings Bank, and like the river that serves as our namesake, we're a constant yet ever-changing presence. Because to us, it's bigger than banking. It's about powering communities and putting people first. It's about knowing where you came from and where you're going. That's Merrimack style. Visit us at themerrimack.com.
This is the Washington Times front page for Monday, August 26, 2024. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has put out a call for agency volunteers to help process applications to restart the Department of Homeland Security's parole program. In the email call for volunteers, Stephen Dinan reports USCIS Chief Human Capital Officer Donna Campanolo said the agency wants volunteers by the end of the week. The program has welcomed more than 500,000 migrants who lack legal visas to enter the United States. It was abruptly paused several weeks ago after an internal review found widespread fraud, but the call for volunteers suggests USCIS is looking for a quick restart. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump says he's considering up to 20% tariffs as retaliation for what he sees as unfair practices by America's trading partners. Seth McLaughlin reports Trump's latest plans call for imposing reciprocal tariffs on any tariff placed on U.S. exports and a universal tariff of 10 to 20% on all goods generally. Scott Lincecum, a trade expert at the libertarian-leaning Cato Institute, said most studies have concluded Trump's tariffs during his first term on various agriculture and industrial products actually increased costs for American consumers and businesses. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has suspended his third-party presidential campaign and thrown his support behind Donald Trump. Mallory Wilson and Alex Miller report Kennedy insisted his endorsement wasn't about revenge nor trying to get a cabinet post in a potential second Trump administration. Trump embraced Kennedy's support and brought him on stage at a rally Friday in Arizona. Democrats say they had neutralized Kennedy's threat to their nominee, Kamala Harris, with a coordinated effort to define him. Massachusetts and New Hampshire are embroiled in a gun dispute that could extend beyond New England and eventually involve the Supreme Court. The issue, Alex Sawyer reports, is the right to travel with guns between states with different firearms regulations. Massachusetts' highest appeals court is considering the case of a New Hampshire man who traveled to the state with his gun without a Massachusetts license. In the gun owner's defense, New Hampshire calls for Massachusetts to end its strict visitor licensing law. States have wrestled with firearm regulations in the 2 years since the Supreme Court ruled that gun control laws must be consistent with the history and traditions of the nation's founding. Actor Dennis Quaid, who portrays Ronald Reagan in an upcoming biopic, says Facebook keeps removing clips of him as Reagan promoting the movie. Sean Salai reports the social media platform's aggressive political content filters have surprised Quaid. He said Facebook's automated filters removed advertising posts about the movie last week after the platform apologized for an automated mistake in removing earlier materials because they might interfere with the presidential election. Facebook's parent company, Meta, has moved to limit political posts to reduce its influence on the contest. And finally, Liberia's new government wants war criminals that sought shelter in the U.S. brought to justice after civil wars that killed about 250,000 people in the 1990s and 2000s. Liberian President Joseph Boakai told our Ryan Lovelace that there will be no witch hunting, but a new tribunal will enable Liberians to put the whole thing behind us and make a move toward building our country. In various cases, the warlords' histories were known to people in their communities and the U.S. government. In some instances, the federal government sought not to imprison or deport known warlords for many years, if at all. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times,